Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. Just waiting for a few more people here, but another minute or two, and then we'll get started. Okay, great. Looks like we are just about on time here. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining. We have Carol Meadows here. She's going to be walking you guys through the after school activity management webinar, discussing the 5 critical challenges schools are facing today. Carol is a longtime K-12 expert and former director of extended programs. She has some great experience with these specific challenges and how to solve them. I'm going to let her take it over from here. Thank you very much for joining.
Hi, I'm Carol Meadows, and for 7 years I was the director of an after-school program. I've also been a classroom teacher for 10 years, and I'm also a mom. So I've had the opportunity to experience after-school programs from every perspective. Um, what I've noticed is in the last 5 years, we're starting to see some trends and things are changing in after school. So that's what we're going to talk about today is the trends that are happening and also what challenges arise out of those trends. And we'll also visit what to think about when you're choosing a software for registration and management to help you solve those problems. So one of the main reasons for this trend is, well, the first trend is that I believe that the numbers and the need for after-school care is increasing. And one of the main reasons for this is there's an increase in dual working families. So having both families in force often creates a need for extended care beyond the regular school day. But having a large number of students in a child care-like setting is really hard to manage. It's difficult to develop lesson plans because they're all different ages, and there's inconsistent attendance. Not everybody attends every single day. And one of the things I found most challenging was that it was hard to establish a community because they're coming from different classrooms with different expectations. And also, it's not the same children during the same time. So it's hard to get everything to kind of congeal like a teacher does. And also, you have to really be careful when you have mixed grade levels. You have to make sure that you group them according to safe play. And you have to watch for the student-teacher ratios. So all of that requires a lot more teachers. And then the challenge is to keep that cost-effective or affordable for parents. So, there's another entry. So what people have done is, I'm so sorry. While the kids are in after school, the parents want them to be engaged, to be fun activities and things while they're there. Well, it's really difficult to provide a quality program under these conditions. So to meet this demand, schools are developing increasingly more complex programs. They're including activities, classes, clubs, tutoring, all this in addition to the traditional care. So what's happening is you got all these exciting things, all kind of fun classes. So even the families that don't need the care are choosing to opt for these activities. And increasing the number of enrollments even higher. And the parents are choosing to leave their kids to stay after school for a number of reasons. In addition to the dual income families, because they absolutely need it, but also it's just convenient. By having the child stay at school for the activity, you can avoid the carpool line. You don't have to travel across town in traffic, wait for the activity to end. So if the school can bring quality activities to them, it's a big plus. Another reason is if there's more than one child in a family, it could be difficult to juggle their after-school schedules. So if you are an after-school program that's offering a variety of classes, the siblings can explore their own interests and not have to consider what the other siblings are doing or their schedule. So one can take ballet while the other's in soccer. And let's face it, kids are more likely to try new things if they know their friends are in the class. If the friend's taking robotics, they're going to want to take robotics too. So all of these are logical explanations as to why we're seeing an increase in the enrollment in after-school activities. So we see this trend, and the result was to increase the variety of offerings, but then that becomes another challenge because how do you manage these very complicated, complex after-school programs now? So as we look at these challenges, I'll be pointing out ways that an activity management software can solve them. And getting the information to the parents is the first step. Some of the registration challenges are getting detailed information about all the activities in a logical format to the parents is important, but making sure that the enrollment process is easy for the parents, and also that the administrators can easily make sense of the information that they've gotten. It's important that it can collect payment and have accurate and current information available to all the parties. So let's look at how a activity management software can help with these challenges. Parents are used to accomplishing things on their phone or on a computer. They don't want to fill out forms. In the past, when my kids were little, we had to fill out a form for each child, and it was time consuming and it was redundant. And then we had to mail it in or send it by backpack. And as a school, I mean, it just took a lot of time, and you're never really sure they got it. But as a school, it's also overwhelming to manually collect all this information and make sense out of it through all these paper forms. But the right software can make all the difference in a registration experience for the parents, but also for the administrator. When considering a software, look for one that's available as an app as well as a computer, because this will help the parents because they're very busy and they want to register their child at their own convenience. It could be home or at the office, but it could also be in a coffee shop or even in carpool line. So also, to make it easy for the parents, it should have a search bar, and the parents should be able to search through things that are relevant to their child only. Because if you're offering a variety of classes to all different age spans, and the parent has to scroll through all of those and figure out which ones really apply to them and which ones are of interest to them, it could be frustrating, time-consuming, and just be a negative experience for the parent. So your search bar should be able to search by eligibility, activity name, activity type, and day of the week. And another thing is your software should allow parents to enroll more than one child in a single transaction instead of checking out after each activity or after each child. Another big plus would be for the ability for the enrollments to stay open throughout the school year, even after registration closes. Make sure that your software doesn't go offline when registration does, because they get busy and they forget, and it's nice to have something they can refer to. All right, collecting parent and student information is another challenge. Selecting a software that integrates with the school's student information system is really key to a good registration experience. It's also important for managing the day-to-day operations of the after-school program. So if your software integrates with the SIS, during registration, parents won't be answering questions that the school already has the answers to. It will automatically pull that information into the registration site. So, and another plus for the schools is they won't have to go around chasing down parents for missing information. So imagine the time that can be saved if a parent didn't have to answer all those questions on a registration form that really we already have, like age, grade, gender, parent contact information, which includes email, address, phone numbers. And then this is very time consuming, is collecting up forms like medical forms, emergency information, approved pickup authorization, over-the-counter medicine approval. So if you could get a software that integrates with your SIS, that will save your parents' time, your school nurse time, and you'll be glad you have all that information in one place. So in the past, collecting and processing payment. In the past, parents were required to attach checks to the enrollment application, usually multiple checks for different activities and for each of their children. And a lot of times the checks were made out to different people because the activity teachers were collecting the money themselves. So in addition to being time consuming, their after school information was really hard to keep track of. And it's hard for the school to keep track of too. In addition to, if you have a software that's going to collect the process at registration, it's going to be great. To take that payment schedule out of the payment thing out of the activity teacher's hands is great, because the school will gain a better control of the program's quality by collecting the payments. They can hold the activity teachers accountable for the quality of their class. So that was one option. Then another option would be, in the past, was to put the whole burden onto the business office to bill the families for the activities. Well, this created problems too, because it created a delay in collecting the money. It was an opportunity for errors because everything had to be manually entered into the family's accounts. So it was very labor intensive. An additional downside to not collecting payments at the time of enrollment is that it's hard for an after-school director to monitor real-time enrollments during registration if you are collecting the money later. Because unless you pay you're going to find out that you will have a ton of cancellations and changes if you don't collect the money at the time of registration. That seems to lock things in a little bit whenever you ask them to pay at registration. So what that does is it keeps the changes to a minimum, but it gives the director an opportunity to really monitor the classes as they're being registered for, because sometimes you have to cancel a class due to low enrollment, or increase a teacher to accommodate the size, or start a wait list. So that's important to for the business office, as well as just managing the registration. So look for a software that has the capability of collecting payment at the time of registration. Okay, dismissal time. This is a challenge. Dismissal time is chaotic. You've got a large number of activities and a large number of children, and it's a challenge to get those children to the correct locations. It could be a carpool or a bus line or to the correct activity. So to help manage the logistics of dismissal time, it's important that everybody that could possibly be involved get the same information at the same time. So emails and telephone messages give an opportunity for a breakdown in the communication chain. Changes are often made right at the last minute, and you don't even have time to relay the messages, and things get really crazy. And when communication breaks down, students miss activities or carpool could be delayed. In either case, you're going to need somebody to track down the child and bring them back to the correct place. And during this transition, there's usually not extra people to spare. So look for a software, and this usually ends with a lot of stress and frustration for everyone. So look for, the thing is to look for a software that's integrated and includes parents. So by empowering the parents to control their child's schedule through an app that communicates in real time to all the parents involved, or all the parties involved, frees the parent from worry and gives them control. They control their own child's schedule. And it gives the administrators and the teachers confidence that they have clear and accurate dismissal instructions. And ultimately, it saves time, energy, and stress for everyone. For example, if a parent needs to pick up a child early for a dentist appointment, they can make that change in the app, and the information goes immediately to all the parties, and the child will automatically be taken off the activity roster for that day, put on the carpool list for that day, and then everybody can be confident that the dismissal instructions are accurate. The teacher will know to send the child to carpool instead of aftercare, and aftercare will know not to expect them. So time, energy, and stress have been avoided. But it can work the other way as well. Let's say that a parent is hung up at a doctor's appointment. This is one of those last minute changes, and can't get to the school on time to pick up their child in carpool. So what do? If they had the app, they could just make that change in their phone. But in the past, they've had to call the front desk and expect that everybody in the chain of communication got the correct information. So they probably weren't very confident that things were going to go the way they needed them to go, and they worried about their child. So if the parent can use their phone, make this change, and then the information immediately goes out to everyone, then the teachers know to send the child straight to aftercare, and aftercare knows to look for them. So having an integrated system that enables everybody to see where every child is scheduled to be, even reflecting last minute changes, will be a great help in managing dismissal. Accurate activity, attendance, data, and documentation. Well, in addition to being able to pass along accurate information during dismissal, it's important to keep accurate attendance records. After-school programs are required by many states to keep these records accessible for many years. Having an electronic sign-in and sign-out option is one way to manage this transition time quickly. Having all the information stored in the same place will help assure that the person that's picking the child up is approved, and it also documents the time that the child's picked up, and it stores that information. A staff member with an iPad, phone, or computer can record the pickup. Well, this helps those busy parents get in and out quickly after a tiring day. And they're trying to avoid rush hour. This is not their best time. They want to get in and out. So that is a plus. But another plus is by recording the time being picked up, it eliminates any disagreements over charges and late fee pickups, or late pickup fees. And another big plus is the ability to store these records without paper files is a great space saver, especially since after-school programs are usually in borrowed space. So it's a great thing not to have to keep all that paper for years. So let's review the trends that we saw. There's been an increased demand for after-school care, which in turn created more opportunities for students, but then complicated the programs, and then created a need for easy-to-use electronic enrollment and payment software. And also, there's a need now for parent-managed tools to communicate daily changes to the rosters. So if you're looking for a software for parent success, make sure that it's SIS integrated. It's going to be easy for them to register. No forms are going to be needed to be collected. Payment's going to be collected at the time of registration, and that the parents will have access to the information throughout the school year. and that they will have check-in and check-out notifications. For the school success, make sure that your software has easy to manage and publishing programs. It operates in real-time daily activity rosters so they can capture those changes that are made by the parents, and has integrated access to all information so that every party can be involved in everything, parents, administrators, teachers. The electronic check-in and check-out feature is very beneficial, as well as accurate billing and payment. So, Lindsay, thank you very much. Lindsay, did we get any questions?
Actually, I forgot to mention it in the beginning, but if anyone has any questions, we'll give you a minute or two here to type them into the Q&A box. I'll read them out loud, and then Carol will be able to address each one. If we don't get to all of them, feel free to reach out following the webinar, and any of us can help you expedite the response. So no questions yet. We're just going to wait a couple minutes here, Carol.
Sure.
Okay, we have one here. Do schools need to use School Pass for all of the different solutions, or is this something that can be kind of customized based on school needs for the specific programs that you talked about?
School Pass has got a lot of flexibility. In fact, at the school that I worked at before I became a consultant, we used the activity module differently. We used it so you can definitely customize the different modules to fit your particular needs. If I knew more about your program, I would be happy to help you figure it out. And I'm sure there's somebody at School Pass that would be able to do that for you.
Thank you, Carol. And what would you say your biggest challenges were when it comes to kind of figuring out a starting point for creating and implementing activity programs for after-school care?
Well, when I was faced with the problem of having too many children in childcare and just trying to find an idea of what to do with these kids, what I did was I went to the community first, and I found the key leading teachers in that area. And you can get these leads from your parents. They know who the best golf instructor is. They know the best ballet instructor. And if you get them and got them on contract, that was my first step. So get these get a schedule together that offered a variety of different activities, because not every child's different. Some are inside kids, some are outside kids, some are science kids, some are sports kids. So I tried to make a nice balance for each one of the grade levels for each class. And I did fill in with some contracts with some of our teachers for after school that had specialties, like our science makerspace guy. He had a very popular class that sold out within 3 minutes. So that's where my starting point was to get a really robust, good schedule with quality instructors, get them under contract, and then that was the first step.
Great, that was helpful, Carol. Thank you. We have another question here. Can you give some examples of SAS programs that integrate with School Pass?
Blackbaud, Senior Systems. I am not a tech person. I just know those were ones that I am familiar with.
I can help answer that. PowerSchool as well. Veracross is a new one, and RenWeb. Thank you for that question. Looks like that actually wraps up the questions. Is there anything else that anyone would like to know? Again, feel free to reach out to Carol or myself or a school pass rep if you're already in contact with one of us. If not, my email will be sent in addition to the webinar recording that will go out either today or tomorrow. And we appreciate everyone joining us. Carol, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a great day.